Does the thought of a job interview fill you with dread? My first NHS interview was in fact the first time I ever did a job interview. Luckily, I had friendly colleagues who helped me prepare and crack the interview. Hello everyone, my name is Radhika and I'm a clinical fellow in ophthalmology working in the UK for almost a year now. This video is geared to give you an overview of what to expect from your NHS interview for a non-training job. First things first, what is a non-training job? These jobs are offered by individual NHS trusts and are not part of the run-through training program. You can find these advertised on NHS Jobs or Track Jobs website. You can apply for these jobs on the portals, and if you are shortlisted, you will get an interview invite. Confirm your attendance for the interview to get a date and time. The interview can be attended in person or remotely via Skype or WhatsApp video call. You can indicate a preference, or a trust may have their own. Let's jump to the day of the interview. The panel is often made up of 2 consultants and someone from the HR. Once the initial introductions are done, the actual interview begins. I'm going to break it down into segments. Most interviews follow this sequence, but some variation can happen. These are the major chunks: background and motivation, soft skill questions, you can expect a colleague question in that as well, then talks about one or more clinical scenarios. After that, clinical governance, research and teaching. The interview usually ends with a question from the HR and gives you a chance to ask questions to the interview panel. If you are overwhelmed already, you are not alone. I was in the exact same place a year ago. Coming to the initial category, I have split it further into background and motivation as distinct subgroups. A typical example of this could be, walk us through your CV or tell me about yourself. Questions can even be narrow with focus on the job you are applying for. For example, tell us about your experience in neurology or trauma or medical emergencies. These are intended as an icebreaker and is an opportunity to make a good first impression. This could be followed up by questions about motivation, like why do you want this job, or what are you looking to get out of this position. Other common questions could be why this hospital. Questions can get deeper, asking about the most liked or disliked aspect of the specialty you are applying for. I was asked this exact question in a recent interview and again explores your motivation. What have you done outside of your scheduled activities that demonstrates an interest in this specialty? The next category is what I would call soft skills. Questions will be related to your ability to communicate, how you resolve a conflict, show empathy, or deal with stress or mistakes at work. There will most likely also be a question about a colleague posing difficulties at work. Questions then often move to discussing a clinical scenario that you are likely to encounter if you get the job. For example, if interviewing as SHO for trauma and orthopedics, you could be asked about your approach to a neck or femur fracture, or for a SHO in A&E, your evaluation of patient presenting with breathlessness. The clinical part will be limited to 1 or 2 scenarios usually. Clinical governance is an important aspect of working in the NHS, and it is a good strategy to read up and be prepared for some questions. Most candidates are also asked about their experience in research and teaching or its impact on clinical practice. This is usually the end of the formal interview. The HR representative might then discuss with you about your immigration status or if you need a visa and work out a practical start date if you get the job and your working hours. At the end of the interview, you will get an opportunity to ask questions to the panel. Make use of this. It gives you a chance to further express your interest in the job, and you can ask about teaching program at the hospital, research opportunities. You can also ask about support to sign off competencies. This is usually the structure of the interview. What I realized after breaking it down is that it is unlike an academic Viva or OSCE that we are so used to preparing for. It is centered on your ability to communicate. I am planning a video series that discusses each of these categories in details and help you develop a template to answer these questions. Stay tuned for more. Let me know if you have any questions in the meanwhile.